Okay, so we're going to do a review on this tomato plant, and this is called the Orange Russian 117 tomato. I don't know that much about its history offhand, but I will put that information in the description below and you can look it up. Now, I do believe the tomato is from Russia. This is an indeterminate tomato. And as you can see, this tomato is what is known as an Oxheart tomato, or strawberry tomato. Some people call that this type of variety, you know, strawberry or Oxheart, but that's what it looks like. I got one that's ready. I need to get this off of this plant now before it gets completely wiped out by disease and rain again. So I need to get this out of here and be able to do a review on this. Now, unfortunately, this is the only one I have ready, but as you can see, I do have a few more here. There's a good couple on there, and maybe I'll get lucky and I'll get a couple more at the top, but the plant is dropping most of its flowers due to the heavy rain and just lack of sunlight now, and so it's not doing as good. I can cut this plant down, but that means I have to sacrifice the tomatoes that are on there. So I don't know which way to go with it, but at some point I got to make that decision whether it's going to keep producing or it's going to die. And it looks like it's producing. It's just the tomatoes are going to come in really slow, but what's happening is, you can see, like right here, you see on the right here where my thumb is, you see how that's getting brown? That's the blight getting right to the fruit. And when the blight gets onto the tomato flower and the fruit like that, they turn yellow and fall off. So that's one of the reasons why your tomato flowers drop a lot, is because of the blight gets right into that flower, kills it right away. So when you start seeing that, it's probably best to cut your plant down, pick your tomatoes, and let new shoots come up. Hopefully you got enough time to maybe get something out of it when you do that, but that's the nature of the beast when it comes to late blight, unfortunately, or early blight. I think it's late blight though. But this is, again, this is the leaf pattern to this tomato. It's a regular leaf pattern, but I like to call this particular regular leaf pattern a sawtooth leaf pattern. And this is what I'm referring to when I say sawtooth. As you can see here, you can see how it's got these little saw teeth on it, on the edges of the leaf. And you can see how the tomato leaf here, you see how this leaf just kind of comes out and then wilts down like a weeping willow. So it's very characteristic of this particular variety of tomato. And there's quite a few tomatoes that do grow like this. Like, for example, here's a regular leaf tomato, and it doesn't do that. You can see each leaf is rounded and it got petals on it, whereas this one comes off, and each one of those leaves that come off are sawtoothed, okay? So it's just my way of classifying it, but most people would just call it a regular leaf tomato. But there is a difference. Certain varieties do have differences in the plant structure. All right, so I'm going to try to get this off, but I don't think I'm going to do it on camera because oh, see, I just broke the whole plant. All right, I got to take this off the plant, and I'll see you at the table. All right, so we're at the review side of the Orange Russian 117 tomato. Again, I don't know much about this tomato offhand, but we will put the correct information, if I can find any, on this tomato in the description. I do believe it's a Russian variety. It's an indeterminate tomato. It's obviously a regular leaf tomato, as you've seen earlier in the video. And that's it. Well, this is basically what a lot of tomato growers would refer to as an Oxheart tomato. And as you can see here, it's got a nice pendant shape to it. And it's got a nice, yellow top on it. I like the yellowing and the way it wants to vein off into the pink. A little bit of damage, probably insects or the tomato cages. This is where it was laying up against the tomato cages. Again, I'm noticing damage on my tomatoes when they lay up against this galvanized tomato cage. So I'm probably not going to be using tomato cages anymore because of this reason with the galvanized, or I have to paint them. So keep that in mind. If you get using tomato cages and your tomatoes are touching those cages, you might start seeing damage on them. So it's something to think about. But you can see it's a very gorgeous tomato, and I really, really like this tomato a lot, the look of it. And this is pretty heavy of a tomato. This has got to be close to a pound. This is actually a pretty good sized tomato. Let me back you out a little bit. You can see, it's a pretty pretty good size for a tomato. Now, I'm sure these tomatoes can get quite big. Like I say, my tomatoes been getting wiped out this year, so I'm lucky to even do a review on this one tomato. But let's cut it open and see what it looks like on the inside. Wow, that's gorgeous on the inside. Looks very similar to a Colleague's tomato. A little dry. I can see some dryness around it. This isn't a hollow tomato by any means, but there is some, the seeds are not attached to the rind. That's not the fault of the tomato. I'm just saying that might affect the review a little bit. You can see that the skin on it is very pink. Let me give you a close look. That's what it looks like on the inside. You can see that the skin on it is very pink and the inside is very yellow. So it's got a very nice contrast to it. I really like that. That's very similar to a hillbilly tomato, to Kellogg's tomato, those kind of tomatoes. It's got that effect to it, except this particular tomato is an Oxheart variety. So let's cut off a piece of this and see what it tastes like. Oh, let's do a Brix first. It's almost 7 on the Brix meter. So that's not bad for a large tomato. On the Brix meter, you generally want to hope for around 8. It is the number you want to look for with the larger tomatoes. So that's not bad for this tomato. So let's give it a bite and see what it tastes like. It's got a nice mild flavor to it. It's a very nice tomato, actually. It's got a nice mild flavor. Sweetness wise, I'm going to say, even though the Brix meter is telling you it's higher. Now when I show you the Brix, not to digress here, when I show you the Brix, that's not just sugar that we're looking at. That's also mineral content and everything else. That's what drives the meter up and down. So it's not just sugar that you're getting in that reading. So I still have to describe the sweetness to you. So even though it's supposed to, a lot of people use that to measure sugar in your fruits and vegetables, it's actually incorrect to do it with that, because it's not just sugar, it's also minerals that are in there. So that has a lot to do with it. But it does give you an idea for the sugar-wise to tell you, you know, is it going to be a sweet tomato this year or a sour tomato, you know. So you can use it for that, but it's not foolproof, okay? It's probably like about a 32 on there on the sweetness. Tangy was about a 30. It was a little lower on the tangy, but it has a really nice aftertaste with the tomato flavor that hangs around the back of your mouth. Real nice aftertaste. I'll take one more bite. You can see when you slice it, you get this beautiful peach inside interior effect on it. Nice pink striping on the inside, nice and yellow. The skins are a little bit on the tart side, so there's a little bit of tartiness to the skin, which isn't bad. It's what happens, it comes in after you chew the skin up. But overall, this is a very, very nice tomato. Now, I tried to grow this tomato for a couple of years, and I really didn't do good at all. I've never done good with this tomato variety. I'm lucky to get a nice, huge tomato this year off this plant, but in years past, I've tried growing it. It always got sick. It never really produced tomatoes, that anything I even wanted to save seed for. And I just kind of gave up growing on it. You know, I just never did good with it. Now, does that mean I should give up? Absolutely not. I just need to relocate where there's less diseases and it's more tomato friendly to grow. This is not a tomato friendly environment where I live. That's without any question. I would say give it a grow. If you're going to grow this tomato and you're not growing like 30 varieties or 100 varieties like I do, and you're going to just grow 2, 3, 4 varieties, you're really going to want to give this one a lot of attention. So just keep that in mind, that this tomato just didn't want to run off, take the lead in the race when it comes to the other tomatoes. It kind of just, it really wants to be babied and pampered a little bit. It just didn't want to thrive on its own. So I really had to intervene a lot and really make sure that it was healthy, and just to get this one tomato, it took a lot of my attention. Normally with tomatoes, don't take that much attention, but this one I really wanted to make sure I got a tomato, or a few. I got a few more that's on there. So I didn't just get the one, I got a few more. They're green. I want them to develop a little bit more on the plant, even if they do get a little bit of blight on it. I just want a good supply of seed from it. So the other thing too, I just wanted to point out before I end this review, is you can see the inside of that tomato. This is all meat on the inside. This is, I mean, this thing's packed solid with meat. This is a great sauce tomato. I'll tell you that right now. If you're looking to make sauce, this is the tomato to grow, because there's barely any seeds in there. That thing's all meat in the middle. Look, that's all meat in the middle. So you really can't go wrong with this tomato. So definitely give it a go. That was your tomato review for the Orange Russian 117. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.